And if we're talking about it just from the context of Star Wars, the challenges are necessary, right? Without challenges, without conflicts, our characters would have absolutely nothing to do. So, the challenges and the roadblocks and the conflicts, it's a necessary part of good storytelling.
You're listening to
Path of the Jedi
with your host, Ronnie Cruz.
All right, welcome to Path of the Jedi, the podcast where Star Wars meets personal development. Bright Sun citizens, today is going to be a little bit of a shotgun episode. I am on the road again, so let's just get right to it with news and updates. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch things up this week and save the news and updates for the end of the podcast and go ahead and dive right into today's topic.
We've lost our momentum. Fall back!
That clip comes from Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 6, Episode 1. In the scene, we have Anakin and the clones in a battle against Separatist droids. And through the course of the battle, they start to lose their advantage and they need to fall back. That's where we get that quote. I chose this particular scene and quote because setbacks are things that we all experience and go through, right? We all face setbacks, we all face challenges, we all face roadblocks along our journey. It's just a natural part of life, especially if you're working towards a specific goal or trying to achieve a specific task, right? There's always going to be challenges along the way. And if we're talking about it just from the context of Star Wars, the challenges are necessary, right? Without challenges, without conflicts, our characters would have absolutely nothing to do. So, the challenges and the roadblocks and the conflicts, it's a necessary part of good storytelling. So for us, number one, I want you guys to understand that setbacks are normal, right? Challenges are normal. They're there to stretch you. They're there to help you grow because without them, there will be no growth. There's no lessons, right? There's no progress. And if there's no progress, you're never going to get to where you want to go. So we need setbacks, we need challenges, we need conflicts, and we need roadblocks because those are the things that help us learn and grow. Now, if you happen to be facing some challenges right now or going through some setbacks, understand that it's okay to fall back, right? In this scene, Anakin had no issues making the decision to fall back, right? To reconnoiter, to regroup and look at what went wrong, look at what we did wrong, and see how we can improve moving forward. That's what falling back is, right? So if you're faced with a roadblock right now, if you're facing some hurdles, take a step back, right? Take a breather, reconnoiter. And as much as possible from a neutral standpoint, from an objective standpoint, just take a look at things that you've been doing and see where perhaps things could be improved. This is a great time to look at strategy, to look at where you can tweak things, maybe improve the situation. And again, it's really important that you come at it from a neutral standpoint because you don't want to have your emotions and your reactions getting in the way and clouding judgment, right? Another thing you can do is seek an outside perspective, right? Seek the perspective from a coach or a mentor, especially somebody who's already been where you want to go, right? Or done the things that you're trying to do. It's awesome and it's very, very effective and could cut your learning curve and cut your work when you get the perspectives of somebody who's already done it. So seek out a mentor. And then once you've identified the areas that you can fix and have a good idea of how to fix them, then that's when you get back into the fray, right? That's when you rally the troops, so to speak, right? You rally the clones and you get back into the battle. That way, you've not only refreshed and rejuvenated your strategy, but hopefully you've also refreshed and rejuvenated yourself, right? We all need to take breaks, again, reconnoiter and fall back, because going full throttle 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, it's just not healthy. And it's really not possible. You're going to burn out, you're going to melt down physically, emotionally, mentally, and you're just going to want to quit. Which brings me to the second point I wanted to discuss today. When we set new goals and visions for ourselves, when we give ourselves new targets, especially in the beginning, it can feel awesome, right? It can feel great. It'll feel like there's a lot of forward motion and momentum. And that's fine. That's awesome. It's totally normal because it's new, right? Like there's a freshness to it and it feels like you're making progress. Now, eventually what happens is it starts to feel like you lose momentum. It starts to feel less exciting and less invigorating, right? And again, that's normal too. We can start to feel like during this phase of our journeys that there's no progress being made. Understand this: results don't happen overnight. And the danger with this is that you can start feeling like you're just spinning your wheels but getting nowhere. And if you're feeling like this for a prolonged period of time, the natural inclination is that you're just going to want to quit and walk away and go do something else. Now, at the time, that may feel like the right thing to do and the right decision to make, but I will say this: there's no quicker and surer path to failure than quitting. And if you do it again, if you repeat that with the next goal and the next goal after that, it becomes a pattern and you end up never achieving any of the things that you set out to achieve. So don't quit. Losing momentum is normal. Having setbacks and challenges are normal. Hitting roadblocks along the way are normal. This is a good time to, again, fall back, reconnoiter, refresh, rejuvenate your strategy, yourself, and then get back into the fray. Success isn't about luck. It isn't about chance. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes growth. Journeys don't happen standing still. If you're trying to get somewhere in life, going through the challenges and the setbacks and the conflicts is the only way to get there. All right, and that's going to do it for today's episode. What challenges, what roadblocks, what hurdles are you facing right now? What are some things that you've done in the past that have helped you get through particularly difficult times on your journey? These are some things that I would love to hear from you guys, and I'm sure could help others on their journeys as well. If they hear and could relate to something that you've been through, maybe it can help them on their track. So just message me. Let us know. Let us know what you think about this episode. You know how to hit us up on Twitter and Facebook. It's POTJ Podcast on both of those things. Of course, you can email us or send a MP3 to info@pathofthejedi.com. Beyond that, the other news and updates that I want to tell you guys about. This weekend, I will be up in the Hershey, Pennsylvania area doing a small event for my local team there. So if you happen to be in that area or from the surrounding areas and would like to meet up, let me know. Yeah, shoot me a message or hit me up on Twitter, any of the social accounts that we have. Connect with me. I would love to meet you in person. If there's any of my listeners here from that area, or if you're even interested in taking a look at what I'm doing with Yoli and what our teams there are doing with Yoli, you can come to our presentation and our training event there as well. Hit me up. If you're in the Hershey, Pennsylvania area and the surrounding areas, hit me up on Twitter or send me an email, and we could definitely link up. I'm going to be up there until Sunday, so I would love a chance to get to meet you. And of course, last but not least, I cannot do an episode without a shout out, right? So this week's shout out goes to my good friend, Paul Duane. Paul is just an exceptional individual. He's an amazing photographer and artist. He does a podcast as well. And he's just one of the coolest individuals that I've ever met in my life. I love the time that I get to spend with him when I do. It's always such a enlightening and fulfilling experience. So I'm gonna hit you guys up with Paul's social feeds. Follow him. He's got an amazing podcast and he's a phenomenal freaking photographer. I will leave his 2 Instagram accounts as well as his podcast info in the show notes of this episode. So make sure to look him up, connect with him. Again, one of the coolest individuals you'll ever meet. So Paul, here's to you, brother. Okay, so that is it. I will still be traveling next week, guys, so we may get another shotgun episode, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Either way, for sure, you'll get a fresh new episode next week. So until then, everybody be well, be safe, and may the force be with you. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company nor Lucasfilm Limited and is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names and sounds and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is intellectual property of Path of the Jedi unless otherwise indicated.